Welcome back to the Just Fantasy Baseball podcast. My name is Rami Lavi. That's Vince Damato. I'm coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland, where Gunnar Henderson rakes. I saw that kid today live in person. It's not the first time I've seen him live, but maybe the first time in a bit. And first of all, one of the best ballparks in the country, Camden Yards, hands down. Dude, that guy had 3 hits, a home run, 2 singles, a stolen base, 3 runs scored or 2 runs scored, and then walked twice. Like, it's never an easy at bat with him, and he just rakes.
And we knew it was coming. I mean, Gunnar has been the talk of the community for quite a while, and it's so much exciting to see a guy fulfill his potential, right? We always see so many guys kind of fall off, and Gunnar has certainly fulfilled the potential that we saw in him. And I would say even more. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think I anticipated him being this good. Like, he's really
I don't think the Orioles missed Jackson Holiday. I'll tell you that much.
no.
Jackson Holiday striking out against David Fletcher in the minor leagues. Did you see that story? That's a
Yes, I
crazy
did.
story.
Yeah.
There
Sometimes he's
are,
good. Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, not great. Since he came up and had that little stint up here, and it's just been rough down
Yeah,
there.
right.
There are some injuries to pitchers.
Sure.
So we start with the Orioles. Tyler Wells and John Means are going to be out for the year, both of them, which also means both UCL surgeries, which also means that a guy like today, who I talked about a lot on this podcast, Cole Irvin, he was my streamer for this week, only 1 strikeout. He actually had only 1 earned run originally. Then they added a second earned run to him because they turned a hit that was originally an error. They called it a hit later. And then also he came out for the sixth, which was idiotic, for the seventh, which was idiotic. Like, he had 6 innings, one earned run that was officially earned, but then, originally was unearned. And then he came back out for the seventh and gave him a bomb to the first batter in the seventh inning. It was like, I didn't really see why you needed to bring him out. It was like 6 strong innings. Kind of felt like he emptied the tank a little bit. The reliever was ready to go, and then they let him pitch the 2 batters. First one was a home run. It was a fly, and then the Orioles bullpen couldn't shut it down. So, but he'll probably stay in the rotation. In San Diego, there were 2 injuries with Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove, both placed on the 15-day IL. Elbow information for Musgrove, so that's concerning. For Darvish, it's a groin strain, and then a lat strain for my guy Clark Schmidt from the Yankees. So he's going to be out. I think he's not throwing for at least 3 to 4 weeks. So that could be probably like a 2-month injury you're looking at. And then Ranger Suarez left yesterday's game with a left hand contusion. So that's a whole bunch of starting pitchers who might be hurt.
Some big ones too. A lot of them that are probably hurting your fantasy team. Yeah.
Rangers been in the Cy Young Award conversation. I guess we don't have an issue for when Garrett Cole comes back. Like, who's going to start for the Yankees? Well, that issue doesn't. And that kid Poteet, who started last night, actually pitched really well. So, the Yankees, it doesn't seem to matter what they do. Another incredible win today. I don't know if you saw that. Juan Soto. All right, we're back. I don't know where we left off, but the point is that the Yankees, it seems like they could do no wrong. Did you see the Yankee game today? Did you see Juan Soto?
Yes,
Oh
I did.
my God! Freaking Camilo Duvall, just ridiculous. By the way, my favorite thing was one of the big headlines going into yesterday's games was how well Chris Sale was pitching, and then he got bombed for the first time this season. So that was great. He had 7 innings in 6 of his previous 8 starts, and I think he lasted like 4 yesterday. So yeah. Anyway, to some of the other things going on. Oh, by the way, Blake Snell left today's start also.
Yeah.
So just another headline.
Did we talk about Alec Manoah too? He's another one.
No, we didn't. He got hurt as well, right?
Yep. He looks like he could be out for an extended period of time, something with his elbow. Don't quite know yet, but.
And then this all-time tweet from the Mets. This is just typical. The Mets, since May 1st, have lost 6 games when leading after 8 innings. No other team in the majors has lost more than 2. That's not a stat you want to be a part of. I saw someone else tweet out a funny meme, which was the Mets. It was a picture of the 116 win Mariners, and it said the New York Mets if games ended after 8 innings.
If they actually closed them out, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sad. All right, so let's get to our waiver pickups for the week. What do you have for me? Who's going to give you some juice off of waivers?
There's quite a few guys I think that are under 50% roster that could give you some boosts. And the first one I'll talk about is Mark Vientos, third
Mm.
baseman for the New York Mets. Um, in case you missed it, Brett Beatty was optioned along with Christian Scott, which Beatty
Scott's
makes
coming
sense.
back.
hmm
Scott's coming back after the
Yeah,
London
after
trip,
the
so
London
that's what's going to
series,
happen
right?
with
Yep,
that.
yep.
And then with Beatty, you saw he hit 2 bombs today
I
in
did.
AAA, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, quadruple A player. So we talk about that so many times.
And since, I mean, obviously Beatty was just recently optioned, but Vientos has looked good and he's got the chance to kind of stick in that, third base spot. So far in 17 games, he's got a good slash line, healthy 321, 377, 607, 4 home runs. And you're talking about a potential lock at third base for the rest of the season. I mean, I know the Mets are hot garbage right now. You do expect them to come back to the mean a little bit, but yeah, Vientos looks like he could be a staple in that lineup there.
And their offense looked good this weekend. That wasn't
Mhm.
the issue. Their offense was fine. They scored 10 runs on Friday night. They just continue to not be able to close out games, and it's really just like when one part of the team is up, the other one's down, and that's how they've been. I have a former New York athlete, former Yankee, Miguel Andujar,
Ah.
who's actually getting playing time now for Oakland.
Mhm.
Used to play third base, now he plays the outfield. He's actually similar to Vientos, where they were trying to get him up because they knew he could hit, but there was no real position for him in the field um, when he first came up with the Yankees. But in the last week, he has a 385 on base, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 6 runs, a stolen base. He's been good lately, and so you need some pop, you need some RBI, some runs. There's no one who's going to play ahead of him. He's a solid major leaguer, which they don't have a ton of on their roster in Oakland. So Miguel Andujar might be someone that you might want to pick up.
And that was totally my next guy.
Was it
So
actually?
it was, yeah, nice,
I
nice
actually
steal.
thought of Vientos as well. I have one more for you if you need one more.
No, I can. I don't have the exact numbers of this player. I wrote them down, but I didn't do a deep dive. But just off the top of the head, Jose Soriano is a guy, a pitcher for the Angels, who
Hmm.
he's not on the streaming radar this week. He's pitching against San Diego, but his last 3 starts, he's been very good. 4 earned, 4 earned, 1 earned. But he's gone 7 2/3, 6 and 6. So he's got the potential. He's got the arm to stay in games, and the Angels obviously seem like they're going to trust him. So if he finds a good matchup, he's got Arizona. It looks like 2 weeks from now, and then if he finds some good matchups, he's a guy I would look out for. But doesn't quite make the streamer list or the waiver wire pickups just yet. But he was someone that was on my radar as well.
Well, there was another guy who started the year hot and then was slow, and now has actually been hot again, which is Jose Siri. So he had the big
Mhm.
2-run double today in the game I went to. So he's another one, but that's not the guy I had on my list. I actually had Kevin Pillar, who was picked up by the Angels after Mike Trout went down. He's been really solid for the Angels. I don't have the number. I thought I saved the numbers in front of me. I don't have them in front of me, and I'm at
I
my
have his
parents, so
his
the
season
Wi-Fi.
his season stat line I have is 330, 389, 588 with a 977 OPS, 6 home runs
Yeah,
so far, and 25 ribbies, 6 stolen bases, and that's in less than 100 at bats. So
yeah,
yeah, Kevin Pillar has been hot. He's been torrid.
he's been really good for
Mhm.
the Angels. And again, another situation where he's starting for the foreseeable future
Yep.
because Trout's
Yep.
out, right? So he's going to be their center fielder every day. And a guy who, has been a really solid major leaguer at times in his career. Maybe he sticks with the Angels and could give you some good production. So that's all I have for
Yeah.
waiver wire pickups if you don't have any others.
No, I like that both of the waiver wire pickups and Duhar and Pilar are guys that you're probably not going to hold on to for the rest of the season, but ride these guys
You
while
don't
they're
need to.
hot.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. So keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to win weeks. And if you're in a roto league, again, you're trying to compile those stats. And these are guys who are hot right now that you could ride. Pitchers to stream. I have another New York guy. I have only one, so if you have two, you could kick us off.
I do have two. One guy is a guy that I just picked up in our league, Rami, who actually, I don't know if you
Mm,
saw, both of us look like we're doing pretty well this week.
I
Hopefully
did
climb out
see.
of our little hole.
Well, Abby
So
was solid today.
yeah, it's finally no. My first guy
No, he's
is
been good.
I'm just kidding. A pitcher for the San Diego Padres. His name is Matt Waldron. He is only rostered in 44% of leagues. And I went and picked him up because he's starting on Monday against the Angels and then later in the week at home versus the Snakes, the Diamondbacks. And Matt Waldron is interesting, not just because I think the Angels in Arizona are a pretty good two-step, right?
Mhm.
You know, those are
Yeah.
two pitchers, two teams that aren't too intimidating. But his last 4 starts, he's been phenomenal. He's thrown 23 innings over those 4 starts, 5 earned runs, which is a 1.95 ERA. And he's got 31 strikeouts to just 6 walks. So, and another thing that I'll point out, 2 of those 4 starts that I just mentioned were against the Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. So
Good teams. Good
good
offensive
teams,
teams.
right? And so Matt Waldron has really looked the part over his last 4 starts. I totally anticipate him keeping it up against the Angels on Monday and then at home against Arizona. Why not? He's been hot. I'm riding with Matt Waldron this week.
So my guy was a guy who was hurt after his first start of the year, but his last 2 starts have been really good. Also against really good teams, and that's Tyler McGill for the Mets.
Yes.
5 innings, 7 strikeouts against Cleveland, and then 7 innings, 9 strikeouts against the Dodgers as well, and no runs in that start against the Dodgers. Starting against Washington, which is not a great offense, so that should be good. The next start is at home. I think it's against Philly, so I don't love him in that spot. I think his second start of the week. But listen, see how the first start of the week goes, and then play it by ear. If you need a guy over the weekend, all right, maybe you play him, maybe you don't. But I think Tyler McGill is a good guy to pick up for his first start this week.
He absolutely is. I was on McGill in the offseason and he came out and he was hurt. And so I
And
tried
by
to
the way,
hold him
he's
in a
already
couple
picked
leagues.
up in my league.
Yeah,
He's like 13% rostered, but in my league, he's already picked up.
And this is no shock to anyone who was on him because, yeah, he's got the stuff to do it. So good call out there. My next guy is actually rostered in quite a few of my leagues, even though he's only 29% rostered in Fantrax. And he's a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, and that is Cooper Criswell. He is starting on Friday against the Chicago White Sox, one of the best matchups you can ask for. But the reason why I like him is so you look at his surface ERA, his surface numbers right now, ERA is 3.92, which really isn't that bad, right? I mean, we'll take a 3.92 on a streaming pitcher any day of the week. But if you take away, he had a 7-run blow up in 4 innings against Baltimore. If you take that away, that one start, he's got an ERA of 2.72, and that's with about 40 innings pitched. So Cooper Criswell has really pitched well, seemingly under the radar. He's a great ratio play. He doesn't have super high strikeout potential, but there's some potential there. And against the White Sox, yeah, I mean, I'll start almost anyone against the White Sox. So Cooper Criswell on Friday. Look out for that start.
And if you're in a wins league, the White Sox have now lost 11 consecutive games in a row after today. So consecutive games in a row. That's redundant. But
yeah.
they've lost 11 consecutive games
in a row.
In a row after today. So White Sox not doing so great, both in a row and consecutively losing games. We have now the MVP of the week, which is brought to you by nobody. And my MVP of the week, I'll give you first, is a guy who some of you may be saying, finally, it's about damn time. Because this guy, it's been a struggle. We've talked about him. It's been a struggle to start the season, but not the last week. 448 on base, only had 1 homer, but 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and 5 stolen bases. Julio Rodriguez. Dude showed up.
Yeah. And hopefully that Seattle team can turn around because baseball is much more fun when that division is clicking on all cylinders. Looks like Houston's starting to pick it up, right? Bregman, that's the guy we talked about.
Yep,
he's starting to pick it up a little bit. We knew that was coming. My MVP of the week is a guy who may even be available in some of your leagues. He's rostered in 66%. He's not available in any of mine, unfortunately. I actually own one share of him. I don't own him. And he is the third base / center fielder.
Got rid of that like 100 years ago. Continue.
Yeah. He is the third baseman / center fielder for the Detroit Tigers, and he's the only guy who has been hitting for that team. And that is Matt Vierling. So I just mentioned Cooper Criswell. His last start was against Detroit, and Matt Vierling was the only guy who hit against Criswell. He hit a home run and a double and just looked phenomenal. And since last Sunday, he has been red hot. Vierling has.
I picked him up, by the way.
Did you? Nice. That's a good
Yeah.
pickup.
I mean, he's been that good. He was on my list because he was that good. Yes.
Yeah. 14 for 32, 437 batting average, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs in the last week. I will say the home runs and RBIs were just from a 3-game stretch, right? So, accumulates 2 home runs, 1 home run, and 1 home run. But either way, he was still hitting all week. So it's a very impressive week for a guy who he really had to earn his playing time, right? He wasn't guaranteed the spot out of spring training. And he has certainly looked the part. Looks like the
Well,
Tigers are going to run with him. So
we've talked so much about a lot of those Tigers that we were looking forward to early in the year not living up to what they were supposed to do. And so here's a guy who's like, hey, I'm going to take the opportunity and run with it, right? Like,
he's a
if
vet.
everyone else is not going to step up, there's young guys. No one has a guaranteed spot on. It's not like, oh, this is a set team. And, like Jason Dominguez hit another 2 home runs in AAA or AA. And it's like, my God, what's happening? But yeah, he's not going to come up because guess what? Where are you going to put him? Stanton's still healthy and hitting well. Obviously, Verdugo's hitting well. Soto and Judge are abnormal. I did want to read this. Let me find this. These Judge stats. Just real
it's
quick.
ridiculous. I think he's got a WRC plus of 100 higher than anyone else in the majors over the last
this
month.
25 game stretch at the end to end like May. I think this was this was tweeted out last night, June 1st. So the last 25 games prior to today was 15 home runs, 12 doubles, and 20 walks in 25 games. Yankees in a 25 game span with 15 plus homers, 10 plus doubles, and 20 plus walks. Aaron Judge in 2024 and Babe Ruth in 1921. Like, insane. And then he comes up today. It just makes it look so easy after Soto hits the first inning home run, first pitch, his lines a single the other way, and then steals 2 bases today. Like, it wasn't enough. He had to steal 2 bases because baseball is boring for him at this point. Hitting home runs is too easy. So let me hit singles and then steal bases because I'm 6'7" and 300 pounds and I can run like the wind. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet. I forget who tweeted it, so I'm sorry for taking it, just the idea. But someone said, right, if there was a league higher than Major League Baseball, these guys would be called up there right now. Like, that's how good they've been. They are just, they make it look too easy. It's too easy.
They've been at a level that that you don't see. You know what I mean? Both him and Soto. You don't see players. That's what it means. Like, when you see a guy in AAA, it's like, okay, he should be a major leaguer. He's too good for AAA. When you see guys who are performing at this level, at the major league level, it's like, yeah, maybe they're too good for this league. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for our locks of the week?
I am. Are you?
All right. Yeah, you could kick us off.
I already threw this guy into my starting lineup for our weekly league, and he doesn't have any numbers really so far to speak of this year, but he's coming back. He's finally here. He's back. His name is Royce Lewis, third baseman for the Minnesota Twins. I love this guy. Yeah, he's a lock in all of my lineups. I don't care about the injury risk. If you have a weekly league, you have to throw him in there. He's too good to leave out. And so he is my lock of the week, short and sweet. Because again, he doesn't have any numbers, but he's an absolute unit. So throw Royce Lewis in your lineups.
Real quick, I did want to give the Jose Siri numbers because I didn't give them earlier. He's 7 for his last 21 with an OBP over 400.
I like to see
2 homers, 3 RBIs, 7 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and a stolen base. So he's been really good over the last week or so. So Jose Siri, just wanted to give the numbers there properly. And then my lock of the week is the guy you mentioned. The team's coming on. He's coming on. Over his last, he had a homer today and 2 RBIs. So he's 2 for 4. He had 3 homers coming into today, prior in the week. Also on base, close to 400. He's starting to get hot. Alex Bregman. He is, I promise you, next week, I'm going to have him as my MVP of the week for this past week. They're playing against, I know later in the week, they're playing against the Angels, I think. Who are they playing sooner? Let me look that up real quick, unless you get it first. But
I had it right here. Cardinals. They face Kyle Gibson on Monday. Yep.
Right. The Cardinals, not the greatest team in the world. And then they're playing against the Angels. Like, they get up for those divisional games. I think it's the Angels. Either the Angels or Seattle. I'm pretty sure it's the Angels, though. So I like where Houston's at right now. I think Houston's about to get hot. And you talked about the division earlier. If Seattle's getting good, even the Angels, if they can just hang in there, Kevin Pillar, carry the Angels. Why not? But Texas should be better than they are. And Corey Seager had another great week. So if you're looking at Texas, you're looking at the Angels, and you're looking at Seattle, all as the summer gets going, first week of June, they start to get hot. That could be really fun. And I could see Alex Bregman turning it on along with the rest of that roster. I mean, Kyle Tucker, we don't talk about him enough, how good he's been, right?
Yeah.
It feels like Jordan has been maybe a little bit of a disappointment relatively to what you expect from him, but he's having a great season. And I feel like that team can really get going and do what we expect them to do all summer. So Alex Bregman's going to be right in the middle of that if they do that.
Yeah, and when it comes time for the playoffs and the Astros are right back in it, and people are like, "What happened? They were so bad to start the year." This is how this team operates. They're not never out of it. So yeah,
Yeah,
Bregman, like you said, it's been hot. Love to see it.
it's a long season. Like some teams need to start hot. Like the Yankees coming off of the year they had last year,
Yes.
you have to get off to that hot start. It's imperative. The way the Orioles fizzled at the end of the last year in the playoffs, it's like imperative you get off to a hot start. The Astros, it's like, nah, we've been there, done that. We know what it's like. We know that over 162, like somebody was saying regarding the Mets, like there's 107 games left to the season. Like, stop. Like the Mets have been as sad as it's been. Like, get off the deck, and I don't believe they will because I think their management, and not their management, but their leadership on the team, specifically the top players, Lindor and Alonso and McNeil, are rotten. That's personally my opinion until they trade those guys. I mean, Lindor's not going anywhere, but Pete and McNeil, you're not going anywhere. But if you had the right leadership, you could say, all right, it's been a third of the season. It's not been great. We're 1 6-game winning streak away from being right back in this. You know what I mean? Like the wild card, everyone makes a freaking wild card this year. Like, I don't know. But so a team like Houston, they're going to look at that and say, hey, we're right in this. Let's go.
Currently only 4.5 out from the wild card.
The Mets.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly my point. Like, you're right there. And to act like in June, the first week of June, the first couple of days of June, your season's over because you've had some tough losses, like grow up. You know what I mean? Like it's like stop being a baby.
And when the second half of the season comes and if one team gets hot, you forget about it, right? Like it doesn't, none of it matters.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
And even that, think about the Texas Rangers. Now I know it's a little bit different because they were so good, but the Texas Rangers, I think, lost 10 of 16 games between the end of August and early September last year. They were playing really bad baseball, and it was like, oh god, here come the Astros. They're going to take over, and then the Rangers went on a run in the World Series. Like it's baseball. It's a long season. You're going to have your ups and downs. You can't let it linger. By the way, same thing for fantasy baseball. Like you're going to have some tough stretches, and I know with head to head, it's rough because it feels like, oh man, you're just plummeting in the standings. I don't know. Go 7-3 for 3 straight weeks, and all of a sudden you're right back in it. You're probably close to the top of your standings.
Well, and that's I actually kind of did want to bring it up. I'm happy that you kind of brought it here because we haven't really talked much about our league, and that's because we haven't been doing well. Like, and the reason though that I'm going to bring it up now is because I'm scheduled to go 8-1 this week, and 8-1-1. And Rami, you look like you're 6-3-1. That's going to take us. I'm only, where is it? Right here.
You're the only one worse than me in the league.
I'm 8 games out of the playoffs, and we're a third of the way through or halfway through the season. Not even, so it's like a couple hot weeks and you're right there. Like you're going to be one of the top teams. Like it really.
And don't be that loser, by the way. Don't be that guy in your league who, even if you think like, oh, it's been a rough start, don't give up. You make it fun for everyone else by continuing to play and continuing to set your lineup and continuing to put out your best team and make trades and try and better your team and go through the waiver wires because that makes it fun for everyone else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Be a good league mate.
You're gonna surprise yourself. You really are.
I think so. Exactly.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time.
All right, so that's gonna do it for us. A little pep talk from the boys going into a week. I love it. Going into the week. So I'm gonna go take like a quick nap, and then I got to be in the city at 5 a.m. So until next time, I'm in Baltimore now. Got to be back in New York in like too few hours.
Jeez.
All right. Yeah. So until next time, like, subscribe, share the podcast. Thank you to everyone who helps out on the show, both on the show and behind the scenes. See ya.
Yeah. Thanks.